Some nice mellow entry music to try and cool me down. I've been fidgeting all day today. Hi guys, it's Chris from the studios of WFC3, and you have yet again found yourself in the middle of monkey business. We appreciate you listening, spending some time with us. In the studio, as always, with me, your host, Chris. With me, Billy DeTore.
Yay.
Tanya Metris.
Woo-hoo.
Becca May. Becca.
I thought you were calming down.
Nah, that's not happening. Wayne Brown. And on the phone, Deanna Schulmerich.
Hey, guys.
And everybody all together now, and Sybil.
We have to work on that.
I know. All right. So we've covered a wide variety of topics over the past many weeks, and we have many, many more coming up ahead of us. Today, Tanya found a great article on Topless Robot, which I think is a hilarious title of a website. I just want to say Topless Robot.
I didn't see it on Topless Robot, though.
We didn't see it.
No, I didn't see it there.
But they're basically attributed as the creators of this particular list. And this list that I'm speaking of.
I can't imagine a topless robot.
You never saw a Suriyama robot?
Yeah.
No.
It's anime. It's out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it kind of like the Austin Powers Fembots?
Yeah, something like that. So today we're going to talk about the 20 commandments of nerddom. So
there's probably more.
Well, the cool thing about this list is 3 of them were written by Topless Robot, and then the rest of them, the other 17, were all fan suggested. So it's basically input from their readers, their listeners, and so we're even going to throw it out there. Yes. So after you've listened to this, if you think of something, throw it on the Facebook link, and we will definitely bring them up at a future podcast. So, with everybody on board, we are going to start with commandment number 1. Thou, and I have an edit for this too, so let me say the whole thing first, and then we'll talk about it. Thou must experience as many nerdy properties as possible throughout your youth. Now, I find that kind of restricting because there weren't a lot of nerdy properties when I was a kid. But so I'm going to say, thou must experience as many nerdy properties as possible throughout your life. So don't just pigeonhole yourself being a Doctor Who fan or being just a Star Wars fan or being just a Star Trek fan. Embrace them all. Don't ever miss an opportunity to expose yourself to something out there. So,
well, I'm thinking at least in your youth, at least by the age of 20, you either had Star Wars or Star Trek, which either Kirk or Picard.
True.
Marvel or DC.
Yeah, true.
By the time that you were 20, you either had a Mac or a PC.
PC.
No, not by mine.
Well, I'm looking at Chris. Yeah. Probably not Wayne. It was probably an Atari or something.
No. Actually, when I was 20, I was
no computer.
There was this big thing.
A TRS-80? Trash 80?
Yeah.
No, I didn't even have that.
When I was through high school and college, I had an Apple IIc, the compact portable one. So,
with the 5.5-inch floppy.
With the 5.5-inch floppy disks.
Becca has no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There were 8-inch floppies before that, and then there was tape. So. And I got paper tape when I was in high school. I wrote programs on paper fan-folded tape.
And then definitely the different doctors.
The different doctors, yeah.
Except for it wasn't Baker or Tennant. It was like Baker or Baker.
There's D&D, there's fantasy movies, there's a whole bunch of other things. There was plenty. But I'm just going to say, I'm going to make sure that people understand that it's not just through your youth, it's through your life.
It's through your life.
Expose yourselves to as much as possible. Anybody else got any input on that one? But then we'll move on.
I was looking at the same list online, and one of the options where it says, do you like Star Wars or Star Trek? What is truck or monkey?
I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea what that one is either.
Hold on. That's the joys of
Tanya will research
Google.
that for you.
TRUKK. Or MUNKEY.
That's got to be new. It's in like the last 10 years.
It's Transformers.
Oh.
Truck.
Then neither.
Okay. Then neither. Yeah.
To complain about the changes to the mythos.
All right.
That was way.
Sorry, I asked.
That was way.
So
Transformers came way after.
Oh, so it's like maybe like Optimus Prime was a trunk, and now he became a monkey on Beast Wars or whatever. Even though I did like the Beast Wars version of.
I like the animation.
Yes, when they were on Cybertron type thing. That was a really cool version of Transformers.
I have to check that out sometime. All right, commandment number 2. Thou must always recognize your first exposure to a nerdy property was the best possible incarnation of that property. So the comment being, likewise, thou must always find new incarnation, sequels, spin-offs, rip-offs, and media inspired these properties to be crappier than your prized original.
Yep.
I don't know if I actually ascribe to that, though, because I grew up watching Star Trek the original series on syndicated rerun as a small kid, and then so when I was in high school is when Next Generation came out. Now, not to throw shade on original series, but I loved Next Generation. I thought it was a lot more complex. It had a lot better, obviously a lot better sci-fi.
Complex.
What was wrong with that comment?
They stole all the stories. Naked Now instead of Naked Time.
Oh, the first season was basically a retread, but but seriously, in 3 years of original series, they basically just robbed all 3 years for 7 years of Next Generation. They did nothing new in Next Generation. There was nothing more.
Let's see.
There's
a handful of good episodes in Next Generation.
All right, and that's your opinion, and you're wrong. Ha! But also, think of it.
Inner Light is a great episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Think of Doctor Who, though. I mean, you have the classic series and you have the new series. Is one better than the other? Well, new series is tighter. It has better storytelling, I think.
Special effects.
Better special effects. A lot less penchant for overacting. But does that, the original series is still fairly cool, in my opinion. And I know I'm fidgeting, Billy. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Spazzing out.
I'm spazzing out over here. But yeah, you can probably. I don't know if I would really ascribe to the whole second commandment.
I would think there's certain parts of the second commandment that we can subscribe to. Hence, A New Hope is definitely better than the version
1, 2, and 3
that we can't talk about because they're definitely crappier. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be fired.
Yeah.
Are they always necessarily better, or just hold a better place in your memory?
I think it's more of a nostalgic aspect than anything else.
I'm a big fan of the Adam West Batman, but I'm not going to say that it's better than
cheesier
than the Christian Bale Batmans.
Yeah.
Or even but to me,
the Michael Keaton Batmans.
I'll always be happy with the Adam West Batman. I'll always be the Batman that started me enjoying Batman.
Oh, green
stuff like that. I think it takes you back to your childhood. I mean, I'm kind of like I agree with Billy on the Adam West Batman. That's what I grew up with. That's kind of what I remember coming home from school and watching. So it kind of takes you back to a place that was cool and hey, I'm a kid. You're a kid again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Green Hornet TV show versus the Green Hornet movie. Mm-hmm. The TV show.
The movie sucked.
Yeah, the TV show was way better than the movie.
All right. So onward and forward. Commandment number 3. Thou must revere the nerd girl because she is as rare as the diamond and just as valuable. Thou should not stalk her.
Thou should not stalk her.
Stalk her just because she's the only girl in your nerd circle. And if when she turns down your advances, you will not spurn her because that's just shitty. And nerd girls, thou must be careful, for thy power is great and can be used for both good and for ill. So, and there's Tanya. She's got her arms up in the air. She's like, "Yeah, that's me. I can use my power. I am powerful."
Tanya.
What?
I'm doing the same thing.
Sybil, your might is great, for you are nerd.
Nerd girls are not rare.
They're not as rare as they used to be.
No, they've never been rare. Star Trek fandom is like 75% women.
Because Jonathan Frakes is hot.
No, before Jonathan.
Captain Kirk was hot and that thing. I'm sorry.
And if you go to a lot of science fiction conventions, there are all kinds of women at science fiction conventions. Mm-hmm. There's always been women at science fiction conventions from the early days of science fiction. So it's like they're being rare. It's only in media that they are rare.
And what, Dr. Bashir?
Who?
Deep Space Nine?
Alexander Siddig?
Yeah.
What about him?
He's hot, too.
Okay. Congratulations.
Julian?
Julian.
Yes.
But, nerd girls have always been around. They've just, I guess, the general public just didn't know.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably it.
They
think
the
general populace.
They think, science fiction, comic books, it's
guys.
all
it's
guys.
A guy
it's like,
thing.
No, there's always been women.
All right. That's a fair enough observation.
I will admit there's always been women.
Uh-huh.
But women hasn't really been until like recent years. It's like you embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Women were always told to embrace the girly stuff. Now women are told embrace your nerdy side, embrace the geek that is within you.
Mm-hmm.
I think you see it more now than we used to ever.
And I think it's nerdism has nerd and geekdom has really become more mainstream.
Yes.
In recent years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's socially acceptable because everybody's into it now. Like, I can make a Dungeons and Dragons analogy. When I first started playing, there was nothing but guys in the room. There was five, 6 guys and a bunch of beers, and we'd be playing all night long. And we'd go to the gaming convention at RIT and the one at U of R.
Rudicon and SimCon.
Yeah. And, bulk of them guys. You'd see a lot of girls wandering around, but it was basically the bulk of them guys. And then as the table evolved, that's how I met Tanya, was at a gaming table with Deanna. And, our current gaming table has anywhere from 1 to 3 girls at it. And there are days where actually the girls outnumber the guys. And it's kind of funny when that happens. But and we are still aware of it enough to make commentary about it. But, you see how it has kind of evolved.
Yeah.
But usually the guys are definitely outnumbering the girls at our table.
Yeah. But that's,
And think about it. When I was growing up, I would never have thought that a female would draw a comic book.
Right.
Or even was a comic book artist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you start understanding the history, they've always been there, and now they're more so than ever. There are females that draw comic books.
An excellent point.
Even male, dominated comic books, there's females drawing them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're starting to see that people are understanding that it's not just a male-dominated arena anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's there.
The same thing with science fiction. It's like women have always written science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
It just, and they've gone into that in like Star Trek and stuff like that, where it's like women have always been around, but no one's ever
really
paid any
recognized
attention to them.
Yeah. DC Fontana.
Yeah,
was
you had to
a
use
girl.
initials.
Yeah,
and a lot of women used their initials because if they got a story, if the editor got a story and it was a woman's name on it, he probably would throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
So if you use the initials, then you can at least get seen.
All right, now onward and forward. The next 17 items on the list, those first 3 were created by the creator of the article in the first place. The next 17 were commenter-suggested laws. So now we're going to be getting into a little bit of editing, and we can have a little bit more fun with these. Consider these the honorable mentions, if you will. Although you should obey them just as you would the first 3 commandments, as it says in the article. So, commandment number 4. Thou must try to convince your significant other to name the child after a character of nerdy importance. If thou art cut from the cloth of the nerd tribe and have managed to breed, and bringeth into the world the Landos, the Anakins, and the Kal-Els of this world.
Well, no. Kevin Smith was the one that named his daughter 17 years ago.
Yep.
Harley Quinn Smith. Yeah.
Harley Quinn, yep.
Yep. I have met...
Nicolas Cage has named his son Kal-El.
Kal-El, yeah.
Right. Yep.
I have met an Anakin. That was not Tanya's cat.
No.
I have met a Luke and a Leia who were twins. Okay. And I remember they were, I think it was like... It was when I was dabbling in grad school work in the mid-'90s, and I ran into Luke, and he said, yes, and I have a twin sister named Leah. And I just kind of, my head tilted, and he goes, yes, my parents are nerds. And that was basically the entire conversation. So they're out there. They're out there.
We didn't even have to, convince each other because my second son's name's Riker.
Yeah. Now, were you thinking of the Bearded Wonder?
That was, in our background, but actually it's a Dutch derivative of the name Richard.
Uh-huh.
So, and my father-in-law's middle name was Richard.
So it's kind of started
that was
fitting
an
together.
homage to that, but then it was...
Your son's name, I've said this to your husband on several of occasions. Your son's name is basically a future X Games champion.
He is.
Really? Seriously.
And we're going to blame his godparents for that.
No, you're not.
Yes, we are.
Oh, at least his godfather, okay? The kid's confused anyway.
His middle name is a Ninja Turtle.
Yes, his middle name is a Ninja Turtle. It's Riker Raphael. So...
Yeah.
It was originally going to try to be Raphael, but Nana vetoed that. So
That's the painter too.
Yes.
The painter and the turtle.
Yeah, and the turtle. So and he likes the turtles, and and he's not a big Star Trek fan yet. But he was Commander Riker for his first Halloween.
There you go.
I know someone they named a writer who named his daughter Aaron for Aaron's son from Farscape.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
There you go.
And lots of cats, like our cosplay guru Rika. Her cat is Ahsoka.
And mines were Anakin and Yoda. And the vet's office named him. We just kept the names.
There you go.
All right. My dog's name is... Well, my first dog was named Clark Kal-El Kent of Krypton.
Nice.
And
kind of bulky.
Yeah.
So was the dog.
And then my newest dog's is General Satai Zototh Zod.
That's definitely
how do you not name your dog Crypto?
Because
that's been done before.
I haven't